Joker, Folie Deux has recently hit theaters this year, but contrary to what its $200 million budget wanted, it turned out to be an absolute failure. In this video, I'm going to go over both the pros and cons of Joker Folie Deux, which I'll from now on be referring to as Joker 2 just to make my life easier, so be prepared for any spoilers. First of all, to address my own bias, the first Joker movie was an amazing movie. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on IMDb, so I watched the second movie with very high expectations, making the disappointment way worse. You see a trend in the bad reviews for this movie coming from Joker 1 fans who compare it against the first rather than its own separate movie. In my opinion, it does sort of need to be compared against the first movie. It is a sequel after all. But I'll do my best to focus on both what the movie did wrong and what it did right. For the sake of this review, however, I went ahead and watched the movie another time. That is some self-torture, of course, but to review what I actually think of the movie, focusing on any aspects the movie might have done wrong or right. Similarly to the prequel, Joker Folie Deux was directed by director Todd Phillips. This was initially to many surprise, as Joker was intended to be a solo project. It is evident, however, that after seeing the results of the first movie, Warner Brothers pushed for a sequel, contrary to what Todd Phillips intended. This created the first step of a massive snowball, as this meant they had to create a movie sequel to a film that was meant to be open-ended. This open-endedness of the first film, in fact, was a key aspect to what made the film so popular as well, as it got people talking afterwards about what comes next, leaving it up to an audience's interpretation. The second film ruins this aspect of the first movie, so in an attempt to recover that, it is evident they tried to recreate that feeling again, but with the second movie's ending, where the audience wonders who this new Joker might be, but it backfired and instead was looked upon as a very poorly written ending.
And this clown turns and says, well, if you're mine, you can get me anything. Perfect, the psychopath says. How about I get you what you fucking deserve?
Along with the recasting of Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, they introduced a new character, Harley Quinzel, played by Lady Gaga. I was surprised by their choice initially to play Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, and I think that Todd Phillips didn't know why either. I have no grievances about Lady Gaga starring in the film. In fact, I think she delivered her role as Harley very well. Nonetheless, it is evident that because of Lady Gaga, there was a major push to incline musical aspects to the film. Hearing about this movie, I assume many, including myself, were actually excited about this change, as musicals tend to do a great job at both setting the tone and displaying characters' inner thoughts without blatant inner monologue. The movie did a very poor job in delivering, however, something I will touch on later. To give some background information into the movie, Joker, the first movie, focused on Arthur Fleck's slow descent into the role as the Joker. It did an outstanding job in questioning the audience's beliefs, making them ask themselves whether they might contribute to the evil in the world, even if they had no direct influence. Joker 2 takes a different approach, introducing a more stylized and surreal tone, focusing on Harley Quinn's character. The setting shifts from the gritty realism of Gotham in the first movie to a more theatrical and exaggerated environment, which alters the overall atmosphere.
To think the famous man, which I must say is sweet. Picking up no doubt, whichever down is me. For a half of wealth, holy cow, they'll never believe it. Make my friends could see me.
The film's narrative, which explores Arthur's evolving relationship with Harley Quinn and his slow descent, dives deeper into his psyche, but struggles to maintain the grounded tone that made the first movie so compelling. A significant portion of Joker 2 takes place in a courtroom setting, which, despite its potential for compelling drama, ends up feeling quite drawn out. The extended court sequences slows down the pacing considerably, making it difficult to maintain the tension and engagement that defined the first movie. The prolonged focus on Arthur's trial and mental state often overshadows more interesting aspects about his dynamic with Harley Quinn, for example, leaving the audience trapped in this repetitive scene that fails to drive the story forward.
Didn't believe the horrific stories a 7-year-old boy told them about the physical and sexual abuse he suffered.
So far, I've only talked about the bad aspects of the movie, so let me also talk about something I liked. The movie started up with a cartoon depicting Arthur Fleck, with the Joker as a shadow committing the crime. Now Arthur is the one who bears the blame, ending with Knock Knock, a testimony to the prequel. I like this sort of hook into the movie, as it touches upon aspects of the last film while giving tribute to Warner Brothers' Looney Tunes. It's what this film does after that sort of sets the movie off with a bad start. Going from the cartoon to the film, the audience is sort of expecting it to start off where the film ended, especially with a cartoon that retells the story from the first movie. Unlike expectations, however, the movie starts off with Arthur in prison, a slow start rather than the quick jump in which we expected. Another thing I liked in the first movie, Joker's laugh is uncontrollable, and the audience can hear his spit being stuck in the back of his throat, hinting at a sadness behind his laugh.
What, you think that's funny? I'm sorry. I have a...
The second movie also hints at emotions through subtle actions, which I appreciate. You can often see Arthur trying to act like the Joker, but failing to flip that switch. This is built up all the way until the conclusion of the trial, where Arthur admits he can't keep up with the facade any longer.
But it wouldn't matter because I can't do this anymore. Because I can't be who you want me to be. It was all just a fantasy. There is no Joker. It's just me.
This is extremely evident in the singing, as Arthur's voice tends to crack more and more as the movie progresses, showcasing how he can't go on with his delusions any longer. Touching upon the musical aspects some more, the movie uses that as a way to showcase the ambitions of the two leads, Arthur and Harley. While Arthur tends to fantasize about a future where he and Harley are in love, Harley instead sings about a future of fame and control. Harley's ambitions were even more evident when watching a second time, as almost all her actions were done in front of a camera to depict herself as a supporter of the Joker. And when she was alone with Arthur, she would often lie and manipulate him to keep him playing the role of Joker. Nonetheless, the musical aspects, in my opinion, tended to ruin the mood and were way too frequent, making it way too obvious of Warner Brothers' attempt to showcase Lady Gaga.
I've got a song that I sing. I can make the rain go.
While the purpose of the first movie was the slow transition of Arthur Fleck into the Joker, the second movie seems to flip this and focuses on the slow downfall of the Joker switching back to ordinary Fleck. To me, that sort of ruined the first movie for me, as it seemed like nothing has changed in Gotham, but some might argue that it symbolizes the life cycle and crime and how everything eventually ends. Either way, the movie seemed to be all about this fall of the Joker and building Harley Quinn as a character. In my opinion, they should have either focused more on time giving details to why Joker was slowly turning back into Fleck rather than just suddenly admitting that he can no longer be the Joker that we saw in the courthouse scene. Or they should have focused more time and energy into making Lee a major character rather than just a supporting character, and really delve into her actions. I think this film does a great job in delivering psychological dissent, but unfortunately for Todd Phillips, it goes completely against audience expectations. In my opinion, it was almost as if their only purpose was to get a reaction out of people. They spent very little time getting the audience to care for a character like they did in the first movie. So in response, we don't really care what happens to the new Arthur, but we're rather more angry at changing the Arthur we knew from the first film. Overall, after watching this a second time, this is sort of what we should have expected from a second movie with Arthur, but it closes some of the open-endedness of the first movie, and it's just a whole messy jumble of dialogue and failed musical attempts. I do, however, think that it gets a bit too much hate for some people for the wrong reasons. All in all, my previous rating from watching the movie was a 4 out of 10. However, after watching a second time, I can see bumping it up to a 5 out of 10, but for a movie which should prioritize entertainment, I'm gonna have to keep my original rating at 4 out of 10. It was not the most entertaining. If you're wondering whether or not to watch this movie, however, I can't give you a certain answer, but if you like the ending of the first movie and don't necessarily like seeing court scenes with heavy dialogue, then I'll advise against seeing this movie. If you do want a conclusion, however, and you're fine with long, drawn-out falling action, don't really like the open-endedness of the first film, then go ahead and watch this movie. Ultimately, Joker 2 tries to build on the success of its predecessor, but stumbles upon the weight of unnecessary musical attempts and drawn-out courtroom drama, leaving audiences with a film that struggles to justify its existence while failing to capture the raw, unsettling brilliance of the original. If you guys like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for watching this video all the way through. This is Joker Folie Deux review, and I want you guys to go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching. This is Grayson Radke, DE English Project, Class Block 812. This is a bit. Thank you. Anyway, goodbye.